My name is Mackie, and welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 Days. Today, we are doing Super Bowl 14 and the continuation of the Pittsburgh Steelers' domination throughout the 70s. In fact, this is probably it's the start of the 80s, but this is the Pittsburgh Steelers just dominate the 70s. Fourth Super Bowl in the last couple of years. They beat the Los Angeles Rams 31-19 on January 20th, 1980 in the Rose Bowl at Pasadena, California. And while the Rams put up some decent effort, of course, trying to play for the home crowd, this is in Pasadena, which is kind of close to the LA region. It's basically a home crowd for the Rams, of course. It was not even enough against the mighty Steel Curtain and the mighty Steelers, of course. Vince Ferragamo tried his best, 15 and 25 for 212 yards and an interception. Lawrence McCutcheon comes in, make a 24-yard touchdown, and that was that. Not much from the quarterback distribution for the LA Rams. Terry Bradshaw was the MVP. Now, this is going to be the weirdest Super Bowl, of course, and I'll get to why this is weird, of course. He made 2 touchdowns, great, but 3 interceptions, which is kind of unlike him. Unlike the last Super Bowl, he was brilliant. He was kind of like maybe age or maybe something catch up to him. I don't know, but then again, it happens to all of us. 2 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He was the MVP of the Super Bowl. Wandell Tyler for the Rams makes 17 rushes for 60 yards, 3.53 a pop. Colin Bryant, 6 rushes for 30 yards, 5 a pop with a touchdown. Franco Harris, 20 carries for 46 yards at 2.3 a pop with 2 touchdowns. So at least he's not as destructive as years past, but he can still get into the end zone. He's still brutally tough. So there's that. Colin Bryant once again involved with the catching. That is what? 51 yards all purpose, which is kind of like less than Terry Bradshaw done combined. Although I forgot about putting Terry Bradshaw's stats as a forum. I think, let me just do something and come back. Just a couple of minutes. Okay, I have the stats with me that Terry Bradshaw went 14 of 21 for 309 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions. And I have it right here. So, anyways, you can easy right now. Forgot about that. Sorry. Let's go back to our good friend Lynn Swan. 5 catches for 79 yards, 15.8 a pop, and a touchdown. John Stallworth, 3 catches for 121 yards. He made 3 catches, but only 121 yards at 40.33 a pop, touchdown. And yeah, that was all the offense we see in this game. Now the defense, of course. Dave Elmendorf, interception and 4 tackles. Ron Perry, interception, 2 tackles. Eddie Brown, interception. Bob Burditsky, 8 tackles. So you say that the Rams defense was on point in this game. Of course, Dave Elmendorf, Perry, and Brown were the ones who made the interceptions. So at least the defense kept them up. But the Steelers are the Steelers with a steel curtain. Jack Lambert, interception and 8 tackles. Robin Cole, 6 tackles. Robin Cole, Steve Furness, J.T. Thomas, and John Banaszak, all with a sack. Yeah, so at least the defense has kept them going. Frank Corral, 1 or 2 in PATs, 2 for 2 in field goals. Matt Brar with 4 for 4 PATs and 1 for 1 on field goals. Total yards 301 to 393 for Pittsburgh. But this is where the weird part comes in. Pittsburgh have 3 turnovers to Los Angeles 1. I believe this is probably the first Super Bowl that I've done in which the team lost the turnover battle and still won the Super Bowl. And won by a margin of 12, which is not the biggest margin, of course, but still, they're probably the most weirdest Super Bowl ever from probably the location and all kind of stuff. I mean, Steelers won, don't get me wrong. It's stats don't mean anything. And of course, I would have put time of possession there, but that will be minute, of course. It doesn't even matter. Steelers were really the most dominant team on the day. And as we're about to enter the 80s, things happen when you have a dynastic team, as we see from the Chiefs later on. And of course, this year, I'm recording it on December 17th. This will be out on December 22nd. We've seen these all the time. Age, injuries, good teams getting better. It happens so many times. And unfortunately for the Steelers in the 80s, it will catch up to them. But my God, what a run this was. And what a run by the Pittsburgh Steelers in those years. I mean, it started with winning Super Bowl 9 against the mighty Minnesota Vikings. It then would reach to the Dallas Cowboys in that pretty good Super Bowl, of course, with the Brady and Lynch one catch. And then, of course, it stopped a couple of years. Won against Dallas Cowboys in the most epic golden Super Bowl ever. And then bookended the 80s, 70s with a dominant win against the Los Angeles Rams. 4 Super Bowl appearances, 4 wins. No, I mean, yes, you can say that Green Bay have the brilliance on the many Super Bowls, of course. We'll get to them later. But it is incredible. It is incredible. What a team, what a franchise, what a set of players, what a coach in Chuck Noll for making this team incredibly possible. And these players will never be forgotten in the annals of time, of course. So if you wanted to watch the last 5 minutes of a really good dynastic team with some really good play, the Super Bowl is for you. I know I recommended so many Super Bowls, but this Super Bowl is for you. Super Bowl 14 is your cup of tea. And tomorrow, we're going to do something different, something wild, I guess. We're going to do Super Bowl 15. And yes, I know you see a little popper right there. Let's just cover it up. We're going to get there when we get there. And it's going to be a story of an MVP that is pretty much kind of deserved and an MVP that deserves to be recognized. And a team that came out of nowhere to actually win with a little bit of Latino spice. I think you all know what that means. So thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you all tomorrow. 48 days until Super Bowl 6.